Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Dani. So I have been asked over and over and over again to tackle this very daunting task with you guys. And so I think I can finally be confident enough to do this. Not the building part, simply the filming part. So okay, I've been asked a ton of times about my junk journals. So I have them right here. So this is my working book. So these are my like grimoires, my book of shadows, my um, art journals, my junk journals, things like that. If you've seen any of my grimoire flip throughs and things like that, you will have seen these. I I've been asked to show you guys how exactly I do these and what I use and yada yada. And I think I'm ready to try and film this, but bear with because I'm not a professional. I'm just going to do the best that I can. If you guys have other questions, make sure to put them in the comments down below, and I will try to answer as best as I can, or make a video showing something closer or short or something. I'm going to do my best, okay? So these are my working ones. You can see they get quite big. And this is how my stitching looks. I don't know if you can see, but there's like the green stitching in here. You can see my green stuff kind of poking out. I use so many different pages and things in these. And so I want them to be able to expand, and whoever gets, the ones that I put in my shop, that they have room to expand. So I always want to make sure that I use something kind of flexible. I am going to go through kind of what I use, and if you want to follow along with me, please do that. So, okay, so this is what they look like beforehand. Look how nice and neat. So, sometimes I make ones like mine right here that have like a softer spine. These have 3 signatures. Mine has 3 signatures in there. This one has some lace around. But this is kind of how they look beforehand, right? So I make these, and then I've recently started making some that are a little more structured. So you can see this is a more structured. It actually has like a set spine. This one has 4 signatures. She big, she chunky, she's beautiful. I actually am able to add a ribbon in this one because of the way that I construct these covers. But oh, I dropped something out of it. BRB. Okay. So yeah, so I make a few different kinds, and then some I'll do just like single signatures. I've done some with, I don't think I have it. Oh, do I have it right here? With kind of an open spine. Hold on. So I've also made some like these. This is like my watercolor sketchbook. But it has an open spine with hard covers. It's like chipboard covered in paper, hard covers. And these are single watercolor pages, and then I do the outside stitch on the spine. So I've done these as well. The easiest I feel like to start with is going to be these simple wraparounds with a few signatures, because it's easier to work with, and I think you can do it without having to get, stiff, really thick cardstock or chipboard or anything like that. So for the first one that I'm going to show, I have a theme already picked out. Since we are around Yuletide and wintertime, I am going with that theme. I have some really fun papers that I picked up, and I have a bunch of stickers and stuff that I've had, and I just really want to do this project, especially right around this time, because I'm going to put this up on my shop when I'm done. So you'll kind of come from start to finish with me. So, just to begin, some of the basics. What do I use? If you want to do this along with me, what do you need to gather? Okay? So I literally grab a little bucket. I have these as well for like smaller things. But I grab that and I start gathering everything that I want and need. So first things first, let's start with the covers, okay? What do I use for the covers? You can use anything you want. Really cool thing to do is make some out of like old paper bags. Like if you have like stiff paper bags, you can do that. They hold up really well. But you want something kind of that thick, right? The brown, I'm talking about the thicker brown paper bags like you would get at a grocery place. You want something kind of thick like that. I also go to, I think they have maybe Joann's or whatever kind of craft store. This is just like crinkle paper. It really doesn't say what it is, but this is a thicker, almost like fabric-y style paper. It's like really durable because I've had some for well, look. She's been through a lot. This is one of my finished ones. This, girl, she's been wet and gone through, but like she curls around the edges. She gets a little battered, but honestly, they hold up so well, and they age with it. So like the more you use it and the more you like, you know, open it up on things and have it around, it kind of has kind of a broken feel. So it gets kind of rubbed down in spaces. So like you can see the use that you have. And again, why I like to use something like this, like a flexible but strong paper or fabric-y paper, is because look at the expansion. This is how it started. This is where it went. Literally. This is the same color. 3 signatures, 3 signatures. That's why. She will expand with you and work with you. And I love these. So yeah. These are, like I said, just like, all it says is like it's crinkle paper. Crinkle paper. It's like crinkle red. Okay. But yeah, let me kind of come up close where you can see the fiber. So we're using this bright red. That was my inspiration. I saw it and I was like, oh, that's what we're doing. So, okay. The only things I usually buy, if I buy it, and it's, I usually just gather and then I use whatever I have. It's one of those, like, I just keep my eye out for really cool papers and things everywhere that I go, especially thrift shops and stuff. But the only things I would, like, purposely buy are these papers for my covers. But again, these are old recycled papers that I had. So, like, you can use whatever you have around. So don't think you have to go buy anything. But the things that I do buy sometimes are these kind of papers. So anytime I see something thick enough to use for a cover or, you know, a cool pattern or whatever, I usually will pick those things up. Sometimes I'll pick up chipboards and stuff for, like, when I do these. But other than that, I usually don't buy anything specific. I collect paper products, and then whenever I'm going to do a journal, I go through everything that I have. So that could be old notebooks. I pop the stitches and use those. Old journals, you know, I'm sure you have stuff laying around that you've never used, or you used half of it and you have a bunch left. I literally gather papers like that. Sorry, my little girl. So I literally, like, I'll gather papers like that. Old books, I will go to my local library, thrift stores, whatever. I will get books for 25 cents, 50 cents, a dollar. And I will just rack up on ones that have really beautiful pages, or they're art books or medical books, or different things like that. I call them like coffee table books, things that have like really awesome artwork or patterns or things like that in them. I just kind of gather those things. And so I have a collection of those types of things, notebooks and stuff, papers that I've dyed. I use avocado, tea, coffee, cabbage. I think that's the ones I have right now. But I use those kind of methods to dye my paper. So I'll use stuff like that, as well as I do have quite a big collection of scrapbooking paper. So I've collected this over years and years and years. And a lot of times if I see a really cool pack of scrapbook paper, I'll pick those up. So I just kind of gather everything. So having said that, so I have all the things. So what I'm going to do first and foremost is, since I have my cover already picked out, I know my theme going in here. What I'm going to start doing right now is gathering from everything around me. Anything that I feel like I want to put in it, that I really like, that goes with the theme, that goes with some colors that I want to, play around with, some patterns that I want to do. I'm literally just going to gather all the things, including like stickers and stamps and, anything that I feel like will correspond. I want to gather and put in these buckets and do that. So we're going to do that first, because I don't want to get too far ahead. I kind of want to show you what it looks like step by step. So I am going to go and gather, and then I'll show you what I have, and we'll go from there. Okay? Okay, different day. These take me a long time, especially this part of the process. It took me a whole day to put this together. But I got a ton of stuff, and so I'm really excited. There are some times where I work on a theme and I'll go through all my stuff, and I end up with a pile where I have to start adding stuff in to make it either bigger or kind of rethink and make the journal itself smaller. So I never know what I'm gonna get, but for this one, because of the theme, I look at this. This is the paper that I grabbed. Can you see? So I have a ton of different scrapbook pages in here, regular pages, some of my colored pages that I've done, and then I also have a couple of really big prints like these that I pull. I got one there, and some Norman Rockwell things. I found a bunch of old sheet music at a thrift store. I got it for like a couple of cents. These are the best as like filler pages and backgrounds and all kinds of stuff. Like, listen, give me all your paper trash. I need it. Anyway, so I have like a bunch of different things that correspond. So that's in here. I have a few of these little things because I'll go through and I'll do a few journals at a time sometimes. These were super cheap. I think I got them at a craft store, maybe Joann's or maybe Hobby Lobby. But they come in a little pack of a few of them, and then you can just, tie them up here, but they fit everything nicely. So when I'm doing multiple journals, I can kind of lay everything on top of those, shove them in there, and then kind of keep them all together, and then continue on in whatever order. So anyway, I have this, all my bigger sheets of paper. Then in here, I grabbed a bunch of different little stickers. I have, what else do I have? like little tags that I grabbed. There's like different stickers. I didn't know what kind of like solid vibe I wanted for it, or if I wanted to kind of have each signature feel a little different, like each one all, overall have the kind of Yuletide vibe, but each one a little different. So I think that's why I was able to gather so much, because then I can really play with this. I can like mix all the styles together throughout all of them. I can do each one of my signatures a specific vibe. Like I like to let creativity kind of take over, in other words. So there's all kinds of different styles, but all very kind of Christmassy. Tangent. I also grabbed this whole box full of stuff. Like I really grabbed a lot. So like in here I have like some of my ribbons that I might use. Some of this stuff I may not use, and then I just put it all back, that it's a never-ending process. It's just like grabbing one and continuing on, or like laying my piles and doing this all at once, and then putting each one into a little bag thing, folder, and starting and working on them. So anyway, but I love this process as well. So like if you're wanting to make this just like wham bam thank you ma'am, you can totally do that. I don't. This is a creative process for me. That's why I do it. Like this is a whole process. I love every step of the way. I love looking through all the stuff and pulling. I love it. And then once I'm done doing that, like this is the fun part, because like I at least get to like talk about it and be like, look what I found. And normally it's just me in here and being like, oh, I found this. So this part's fun for me. But yeah, this is a process on purpose. There's a lot of time and energy and love and intent, honestly, that goes into my junk journals, which is why, again, I only put, a few of them on my Etsy every once in a while, because it's a process and I love to take my time and really put a lot of love in there. And so I don't churn them out super fast, because that's not the point. The point is not selling them. The point is making them, that's why this process is just like, I'm like, I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know how to put it into words, because this is like a labor of love and intention. It's part of my practice. There are all kinds of things that go into doing something like this. I get stuff going on my altar. I have my music playing. I have like the whole thing. I have my incense burning. It's a whole process, and it's so enjoyable for me. So like, here's a reminder. If you're doing this, if you want to try and make one of these, like take your time, man. Don't be in a rush. Just like take your time and really just have fun finding stuff, going through stuff, and like putting and piecing them together, because this is called a junk journal. It's not perfect. Pages aren't even. Things might be torn. It might be literal junk mail. Like, everything goes. Nothing has to be perfect. It just has to be what you want it to be. So like, let your ideas go wild. Try it. You never know. Okay. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's continue on. Okay, so got some little stickers here. Oh, I keep these on my desk the entire time I'm doing books, because I will go through them multiple times and use images out of them. Sometimes I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I'll sit down and I'll go through and I'll like find some main ones and just like cut them out, tear them out. I am not sacred with this shit. Like, honestly, like, look, I think this page is like, yeah, literally like falling out. I just tear them out. It doesn't, who cares? Doesn't matter. You know, I use bits and pieces. Like, there's stuff all unstuck. Listen, nothing's precious. This is creative space. Let yourself go. So, but yeah, I keep these around because there's always like really cool stuff that sometimes I don't think about. Or like I'm looking at a page and I'm like, it needs something, and I can just go through this and find all kind of quirky little stuff, and so I keep those around, you know. But yeah, so things like that, stencils, for the fun part. Sometimes I like to make little pockets and shove cards and stuff in pockets. So I do go through my extra tarot stash, and I gather cards. And so sometimes there are tarot cards or oracle cards, or I'll use the title cards. See, like this, the Nicoletta has very Christmassy backs. So because they look like holly, what I grabbed the big one and the small one because I had the title cards for both of these. I always put those in a pile because this is how I use them. So if you don't keep your title cards in there and you like throw them away, or extra cards, like don't, because you might want the backs, so you gather them. So anyway, so I grab these, and then what I sometimes do is make little bookmarks, or you know, kind of like mini art pieces, you know, on the front, and I tuck them all over the place, like, you know, in the junk journal. I have some pear tree court people in here, some from an oracle that I had, ones that came with the books for the herbiary and bestiary, actual like postcards that I grab, and again, more tarot and oracle cards. So I just kind of, I go through my books, and if I see something that I like, I'll just tear it out. So I like the leaves. I think I might cut them out and like do something with that. I have this little fabric. You never know. There's sometimes I break out my sewing machine and I'll like sew stuff onto the pages, or I will sew pieces together to make like little borders or banners. So if you like doing stuff with a sewing machine too, this is really fun. So sometimes I just like find the pages and then put them together, and then I decorate after. I go in and do those things after. But if I know I'm going to be doing some wild stuff, you know, then I usually go through the pages before I put them in and do like an initial art project on them, or like glue pieces together, or make things longer, or make, you know, whatever I want to make for it. Make my pouches, or my folder, like, you know, folded up pages that like you can tuck stuff in, you know, like I make those kind of things first before I put them all together. Kind of depending upon, again, how detailed I want to go, my initial go round. So I'll kind of go through that, make those things, and then I will put them together, sew in the signatures, and then come back in and add more ephemera and more things to each signature, or like add little creative things, or put some more stickers, or whatever I want to do. So, like I said, that is the step that I'm going into right now. So I will see you on the other side of that. Okay, you guys. So I have all three of these mocked up. So let me show you what I have so far. So I kind of, this is the creative part. This is hard to describe. So like I literally take the papers and shift them around, shuffle them around, create little like mini sets. Like this right here, I knew I wanted this look, So I made sure to layer those papers, and then I kind of shove stuff in between. So yeah, anyway, I want it to kind of flow and look like I want it to look. So here's a couple of things I have going on. Quick flip of the basics. So like, again, another one that I wanted the tones to match when it lays down. And then I have a thicker, sturdier paper for the center. Now, these are going to shift and move as I decide how I want them to sit, and then when I go to cut them. But this is the basics right now for the first one. This one kind of have some, let me scooch this up a little bit. There we go. Have some different kind of colors and styles. We have like a bone mousse on this side. And a lot of these empty spaces, that's where I'm going to come in and do whatever it is that kind of I get inspired to do, whether that be like adding things to the page, doing stencils, gluing things on, making pockets, like all those goes in these wide empty spaces, but some of them I do leave alone. So again, I do the initial, put it all together like this to get all the pages in the order that I want them to be in for the look that I want, and then kind of go from there. So we have this one kind of set in the center, and then this one is more of the same on a bluer tone. We'll go through the whole thing a couple of times, so you'll probably get tired of looking at it, so I don't want to go into too much detail as far as that goes. So that's where the next step led me. So from here, so I don't, because I've done it so many times, pro tip, I have gone through and started decorating pages and realized that I'm decorating this whole page, but I'm going to have to cut this down to fit into my book. So we're not going to do that this time. So next step from here, please cut your pages. Cut your pages. You're going to want to set them, cut them how you want them to be. Then we'll go in and kind of do some decorations and stuff like that. So I usually like to keep it to where a regular sheet of folded paper like this, you know, like an 8.5, fits in. But there are some other ones, so I kind of try to keep it right around 8.5. So I just kind of wanted to show you guys that. I don't know if you can see. Let me come in. Let me bring that in so you can see. So yeah, so these are like the 8.5. So I like to play with that just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut everything that needs to be cut down to 8 3/4. Okay? So we're going to do it at 8 3/4. Cut anything that needs to be cut, including our main one. Okay. So I have a guillotine that is a 12 by 12, so it's perfect. So I'm going to go here, and I can see it down here. This is a half. This is a quarter. So I measure and cut. Now, everything that you cut off, pile it. That's how you get your junk for all of your junk journals. Whatever you don't use now, you can use later. Put it in a pile. Especially these big hunkin' pieces. Yeah, okay. So sometimes I leave them folded, especially my inner pages. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to set it to 8 3/4. And I'm going to cut. And so this is how I'm going to start building. It's going to have all the right height. And then we'll come back and I'll show you how I do the middle. Okay, so the last one in this first signature, I can actually show you what I mean by make sure that you have what you want. So this is the center. It's folded like this, but we want to be able to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it like this. Now you'll notice there's some like funky edges. I'm just going to knock that off real quick because I know this is going to be long anyway. All right. So I'm going to knock that off. But what I want to make sure that I see is this main apple. So if I were to just put it in there and cut, I would cut, watch, I'll show you. I would be cutting all of that off. So this is going to be all that you see. Or if I came in and I cut it like this, it would make a bigger difference here because you would see all the top. So it's like, what do you want to see? Do you want to see just the apples? Do you want this in the center? Like, how do you want this to look in there? And so I kind of want it to look like this. So I'm going to kind of decide where to chunk things. Down at the bottom, okay? And then from there, I am just going to get that set and then cut it off. And now in my center, I have that apple directly in the center. You can see a little bit of the basket in there. It's got that like homey feel. That's what I wanted. So make sure that as you're cutting, you're paying attention to, you know, your most important feature. Like I have some pages where I have something on the front that I care about, but I don't care about what's inside, or vice versa. I don't really care about what's on the front part, but what's on the back, I need to make sure is in the right spot that I want it. So pay attention to that because I've made the mistakes of just like, I'm just going to grab and cut and be like, oh, son of a bitch, I didn't set this, you know, like it's not what I wanted. But anyway, so, all right, they're all cut down. Now for the fun part. Listen, before you come at me about 10 ways to Sunday, how you can do this easier or calculate it or yada, 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 cool. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm showing you how I do it. You can do it as precise and perfect as you want. This is how I roll. Okay. I just want to start off with that because I'm sure I'm going to hear a bunch of stuff about it. Okay, anyway. Okay, so I can come back in a little. So again, how I usually do it is set my middle one in the crease. Okay. And then I'm going to come before and after that. Try to keep it as close as possible where it all belongs. Okay, and kind of do that like this. Have it set. Want a little bit of give. So I want it to be a little bit less than this, right? So what I'm going to want to do is I am going to get this and measure. So it is about 5 3/4. So I think what I'm going to do for this first one is go 5/8, cut that down, see how it fits in there. Because that's not a whole lot less. You want a little bit of play on the cover. So I'm going to mark it on the front. So this is what I do and why I'm saying people are probably going to yell at me. So I'm going to make my mark with something that I can see, and that way I can measure it and go kind of a little behind that line. So I want to give me a mark about right here. Midway-ish. Just to give me like a line to follow. And then one towards the bottom. Okay. So I have that set in marks. Let me move this. Okay. Again, I'm going to take all my little scraps, put them aside. And now I'm going to grab just a cutting mat. Mine are usually like this. They're absolutely horrific. They're full of glue and paint and cuts and everything else. So here we are. But I love them. Again, we're going to double check that everything is lined. And then we're going to kind of set it. I like using these because then I can make sure that, that everything is even. I want to go right. Let me come in. So if you can see that mark right there, do you see that little mark? There's one right here as well. I know it's kind of hard to see in this pattern, but it's really easy to see in person, which is why I use something visible, because I don't want to catch that on my page. I want to be right inside it because, again, I want to give myself room. I have used rotary tools. Those work. Mine is a piece of crap right now. I need a new one. It's broken. So I use a utility knife. And I just go for it. Are you ready? So this is a metal ruler. Again, keep your scraps. Let me come out a little bit so y'all can see the whole thing. Okay. So you have to do this a few times. Try your best. Hold it down tight, which is why I was like, I gotta stand up for this. Like, hold, steady. Try not to push too much, but you want to skim that side. That's why I like metal rulers or straight edges, whatever you're using. That way you don't have to really worry. See, like I did, I just moved. Okay, so I put myself back. Okay, put myself back, and then just gonna go after it. I obviously need a better blade. So there we go, all cut to the side. So now when we have this in there, you can see this is the second one. This is the first one. God dang it, one every which way. So you see the first one is now tucked nice and neat back in there. So now that I did that, I'm going to continue on. I'm going to mark, and we're going to cut them all. And again, make sure that everything fits nice and neat, and make sure I don't need to trim anything after. So I'm going to repeat this process. Mark, score, mark, score. And then we're going to see how it fits. All right. Okay. Got him. All right. So let's check it out. Make sure our middle reaches in there. I want everything to fit nice and neat inside. Boom. All right. Boom, we got it. That. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and see if there are any big things that I want to do in each of these, and then I will show you guys if I end up doing something kind of wild or like what kind of things that I'm doing. I'll kind of pop in here and there and kind of be like, hey, this is what I'm doing to this page. We're learning as we go. We're learning as we go. So, okay, forgive me, I might be up and down on this next part. Because I never usually sit down and do these. I usually always stand up back there. But, like, I can't fit you guys back there right now. So I figured this will be the best way to kind of show you the most important stuff. So this next part, we are going to create a guide to punch our holes for the binding. So the first thing I do is measure out, and I have this like cork board because it's really easy to puncture all the way through. But I'm gonna put this aside right now because the first thing I want to do is I'm gonna turn this over. so we can kind of see the contrast a little better. But what I do is, this is for the other one, I'm going to set this even, and then I'm going to make a line. Make my mark, and then I'm going to cut that here. So, comme ça, like that. All right. So let me put this aside. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to get these. So I have another one that's thinner so I can tell them apart. And what I want to do is measure this. So come and put this here. Comme ça, chef. Just like that. All right. So this is the size. What I want to do now is fold it in half. I want my center because that's where I'm going to be puncturing in this. What I like to do is I like to start, and I use centimeters because I feel like it just works better. So 1 centimeter down, both sides, okay? And what I'm going to do is designate top and bottom, okay? Top, bottom. You want to do it the same exact way, just in case. Just in case. Okay, so I usually start about 1 centimeter in, and for my multiple signatures, I usually do them about 1 centimeter apart. So I'll show you that when we get to the guide for the cover. So here is how mine worked out. So I have 1 centimeter, another notch at 1 centimeter. I go down and notch at 5 centimeters, then 1 centimeter, then 6 centimeters, then 1 centimeter, then 5 centimeters, 1, and the final one. I marked my top and my bottom. So that's how it's going to look on my signatures themselves. So what's different about this? Should it be the exact same? Yes, it should, but then you're going to have to do more marks on either side. So what I'm going to do is the same idea here. Make sure. Now, I make 2 of them for a few different purposes. I like my main one for my signatures to be clean, so I'm doing that one by itself because this one does get messy because I mark lines and I do all kinds of stuff. So another reason is that sometimes I put my signatures smaller all the way around than the cover. And so for those cases, so let's say you put your signatures at 19 centimeters long and your cover at 20 centimeters long, so you're like splitting a half a centimeter between the two. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to mark your signatures first, then you are going to mark your main book, your cover, using obviously just like this, the same one, but you're going to be able to make sure that you have, let's say, your half centimeter on both sides, and then you would hold that and mark it on here. That way you have that extra space and it's perfectly lined up with your signatures. So just in case you do it that way. Now these are the exact same, but where I'm going to pop these marks is exactly where I want them to be popped on here. So again, I'm going to mark before I even start, because I have a little trick for this. I'm going to mark top, bottom, You don't want to mix them up. So I'm just going to pick the center as best as I can, because my guide doesn't have to be perfect in the center, as long as my center and 2 are identical. That's all I'm worried about. Okay, so I am going to pin this at the top and the bottom, and then watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my cork board, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to poke my initial holes in there. Down, we got our initial guide. Alright, so like I said, for this one it kind of gets a little messy, because what I'm going to do on this side, this kind of makes it easier, so I make sure that I stay on my lines. And you can, and then I'm going to come in here at the 2 centimeter mark, and then I'm going to make a line here and a line here, and then I'm going to come down at the bottom and do the same thing. Line my hole up with the 2, go mark at the 3, go mark at the 1, and then I'm just going to line myself up, gonna mark down. Oh shit. I know I was losing some steam there, that pin. All right. Gonna mark there. Gonna mark there, and now I punch at all of these lines that meet. Okay, another thing, I'm going to highlight this line. I forgot to do that. But I'm also gonna draw my line that goes straight through my dots. And the reason being is I want to make sure that my centers line up. I'll show you. Alright. That's my center. And so with this pinch that I just gave this paper, I can line up my center at the top. And then I can pin it. And then with the one that I did earlier, I can make sure that I'm right at that same spot, and I pin it. And now I'm gonna kind of lay this off to where it's flat while I'm punching these initial holes. Just like that. All right. So now we have our cover holes punched. We got them. So let me tell you all a little trick, because sometimes these papers will tear. Okay, and you want to protect it as best as you can while you are doing your thing. Oh, what I sometimes do before I start sewing it. Okay, so random piece of construction paper. What I'm gonna do is I am going to pin this with just the little alligator clips, or whatever you want to call them, binder clips. It's a little short. Hold on. The thing is this is not going to stay on there. This is just a buffer so that you have a little bit more stability as you're sewing it in, just in case, because papers tear, right? So if you pull real hard or you pull at an angle, you can get a tear or a rip in your main cover. And I mean, I've done it a bazillion times. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't help, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't, but you're always going to have like little pulls and tears because this is paper. This is not, you know, regular fabric. So in order to avoid that as much as possible, I'll use this. Because I like to do them however I want, I usually don't do this as much as I used to at the beginning, because I pay close attention, but it's honestly something that I should be doing more often because it does protect it, and I can get a little rough if I'm not paying attention, so I should do this more. Telling to myself. Anyway, so this is all ready to go. Let's do the signatures now. Okay, so before we can poke our holes, we have to make sure that our pages are exactly like we want them. So what I mean by that is where they are within. So do you want this all the way at the bottom? Do you want this in the middle? Do you want this at the top? How do you want it to look? Honestly, seeing it like this, I'm kind of thinking God, it would look better like this. But then it wouldn't be as cool, but I could put something cool on that side. That way you can see. Like I like to see how the papers look together. You know what I mean? Like how it creates like a little picture within itself. So I do think that's really cool. I like the way that that looks. But I really wish it was here. But then I can put something really cool here. And then I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay. So I'm going to do that. I want these to be kind of centered. All right. So now I'm going to want to keep it as closed as possible. So I'm going to snatch some more of these just because I want it to really sit in the center. So I'm going to clip my pages together so they don't move. One on each side. All right. So that's how I'm going to do that. Make sure that you kind of release the pressure. Make sure you're pushing that center down within itself so you're even. Okay. So now match your top to your top, your bottom to your bottom, and that's going to go right in the crease and line up. Now, you can clip these if you want to, but here's what I do. I have more than one awl. So this is what I do. You can clip yours because it's easier that way. But I literally take one of my awls, make sure that I fit the whole thing on, and I puncture through and I leave it punctured. So it's not going anywhere. Okay? And then I continue going. I usually skip that because it's really close, so I'll show you what I'm going to do. Go in as deep as you can because you're going to want some space on there. Straight down. In that crease. Because you're going to want to be able to get your needle all the way through. You're going to want that hole to kind of be distinct. So then I'm going to do the last hole, and I'm going to keep that one in there. I'm going to fold this up again, and then I'm going to poke that second one. See, that one was harder. This all is not as pointed, not as sharp. So that's why I use it for just that. So now, this is all set. So I'm going to show you how I do it all in one go. So here's what I'm going to do. Some of the best things to use for this: waxed cord. Waxed cord. Because it flows through. If not, you can get regular cording and use beeswax. You can do all kinds of stuff, whatever you want, as long as you're all, like, your string is, like, thin enough to go through the holes and to use with a needle. Now, my needles are huge. I have, it's on Frida right here. I have a collection of needles. Some are completely round and hooked, some are curved, some are straight. I usually like to use a curved. And I use this one because it has a little bit of a smaller head than the other one. This one is it's hard to show on camera. This one has a bigger eye than this one does. And sometimes it'll get caught. I know this one will go through those holes really well. So, how do I measure? I measure this like I do everything else. I just guess. So what I found that works the best, that gives me some play, is I kind of I wrap this blue on top of it, so now I'm having to weave this frickin' green out of it until I can get to the top. Ugh. Grab it about a little bit in front, a little bit behind, go 1 signature, 2 signatures, 3 signatures, and then the cover. And then I go a little bit more, and then I cut it. So, I just string it like that, leave this loose. It's gonna stay, because again, it's waxed. And then at the very end, I do like a double knot. I do kind of a bulkier knot at the end right here. And then, I don't have my scissors. I'm like doing this with this razor blade. I'm gonna cut a little bit of those ends off and kind of make sure I have enough bulk right there. Because how I start this is I'm gonna start it at the top. Okay. So, I start by going through the top of the first one. Okay. Then I'm gonna come back in through the second hole. You kind of have to keep this bent, remember, for it to line up properly. We're going to go through a little bit, and then we're going to come into that first hole right here. Oh, I forgot to do something. Hold on. Before we can do our cover, we need to make holes so we can see from the back. Now that our little construction paper is there. So poke through your back paper. Then we're going to go through that second hole. Right here. And pull it most of the way through. And what I mean by that is give yourself a little bit of space because you're going to want to see. So from here, you're going to come in the back. Come through your next hole. This is what I mean. You're going to want to be able to see. So you're going to leave this loose as you go, because you don't want to tighten too much initially. Once you get your first few stitches in there, like I get a little tighter as I go. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm not in my normal spot. It's bumming me out. All right. in through the next hole, all the way through. And then again through here. Now, please be careful about getting yourself tangled, because listen, been there, done that. Okay, and it's nice to keep this cardboard because then I can kind of hold it down. So again, as I'm getting lower, what I want to do is get tighter. So I'm going to tighten this because I want this to start tightening up, because if not, I think it's a pain in the butt to have to try to tighten this after the fact, because then it's like 1 2 3 1 2 3. You got to go through your whole book. Not saying that it's impossible, it's good that you do it, you got to have it tight, but it's easier if you start, you know, one signature at a time, getting it as tight as you can, because this is going to be a continuous stitch. Once we finish this, we're going to leave this open, we're going to pop our holes in our next one, and then we are going to stitch that one. And so we go in consecutive order. You can start from the back or you can start from the front, signature wise. The last signature or the first signature. I'm starting with the first signature because it's the first one I punched. Because I was considering punching them all and then showing you how to do it all at one time. But because of the, like, I really hate leaving punched holes undone. I just do. Because it's just so easy for them to get all jacked up. Alright, anyway, back to it. First hole right here. And again, a lot of times it's good to come through the backing and then into the signature, because you can hold that signature a little bit better, and then it just lines it up for you. Alright, our last one is going to go through. Careful when it does that. Go slowly. Alright. Our first signature is secured. We can take the clamps off of that one and reuse them on the other one. And now we are going to punch the holes in the second one. Alright, so from there, you take it, make sure that it's the right way around, top, bottom. You come in through wherever you are. Mine's at the bottom. You watch your little binder clips, because you can get caught on them. That's why I don't like them always, but they're necessary because it's so easy to screw up your holes, your alignment, you know. So again, we're just in and out, and that's how we're gonna do for the rest of this. All right, and the last one, grab our book, up, okay, so we're up here, we're gonna come in our last hole up across, pull this through here, now again making sure we're right way up, we're going to go ahead and stitch this one the same. Okay, so now I'm getting towards the very bottom. I'm going to start to pull it a little tighter, because this is like towards the end, and then I'll show you how I end this out completely. So now we're all stitched here, but now you'll notice, oh, well, we have a missing place here and a missing place here. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. So first I'm going to make sure everything is tight. So I'm going to chase this down and around. Before I do anything else, I want to make sure this is tight and set, okay? So that is all good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come back in so we can create those little loops. and I'll show you how. We're going to go back in. I'm going to kind of open this. We're going to go from where we are down here at the bottom. We're going to come in here, in this center one again, all the way through. But now we are going to tighten up, drop it down to the bottom through here, right? So we're back over here. So now we're going to go back to that first one. Remember how we skipped the outside? We are going to actually go through it and then, sorry, this is hard to see. Do you see where my knot is? We're back through. We're going to go slip ourselves in through that knot. You got to maneuver. Be careful of your cover. But I kind of maneuver back in there. And then you can kind of, I want to see if I have enough left. So I do. So I have enough. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come right here in this second to last hole. I'm going to come through it. Oop. Onto the back end, not in the cover. This is how I'm going to do mine. You can tie it off in there if you want, but sometimes I like to hide it. Come on, baby. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Okay, come on through. So I'm going to pull her through right here. Pull my needle off. And then I'm going to make a nice knot. And I'm going to pull it with my awl all the way down as close as I can to the page itself. Knot that up real good. And then clip. And so now we're all stitched. Okay? So now that we're all stitched, we're going to remove this. Right, so there we go. We pull that all off, tear that all out, and it saves our spine. Boom. So now our book is officially bound. So from here, I round my pages and I round my cover. So I go in and I round everything. And then once that's done, technically, you're done. You're finished. You're complete. Everything else is just decorating. So I am going to complete this, and then I'm going to complete the decorations. And then we will look at the finished journal along with my other ones that I have right now. So we got her. She's done. She's got some holly down here. Got the ribbon through. I went under, over, under, just to slip the little ribbon, just to tie. You can keep that on there. You can take it off. But she's done. So I have this one here, and then I have two more that you guys can see that I also have in my shop. I will flip through those to give you an idea of how you can decorate and the different ways I do things, and all that good stuff. So without further ado, let's open her up. Okay, so let me see. Let me do this. Okay, there we go. So now we can have a good flip through. So you'll notice I did all kinds of stickers and patterns in this one. Plenty of space to write. This This one has a whole bunch of ephemera shoved into those pages that we created. This one was so fun to work on, I can't lie. I spent a lot of time playing around here. So I really love how this one turned out. Like, it was exactly what I wanted it to be. I just had so much fun. I have a lot of ephemera shoved into this one that you can kind of play around with. I did some pages. There's our centerpiece. So cute. It left a lot of really pretty colors to play around with. Like, I would probably put some writing here or there, and I try to leave some space. Like, there's some where I'm like, I want to do this, and I'm like, this is chill, dude, chill. Gotta leave some open space too. Some I leave more than others. This one I tried to be conscious of leaving enough space, but still really playing around with all the stuff that I had. So I even put some little leaves here. Stickers, our doilies. I love all the texture that doilies and stuff bring, especially because it's so soft and delicate. Oh, I can't get up under that page. Some stamping down the side, just some little stickers here and there. This one, I found this really cool typewriter. It had a bunch of crap on it, so I put something else on there to make it look really cute. Some layering of stickers. I love sheet music. Gotta have mushrooms, cause got to. And there's even a baked apple recipe page in here, which I thought was really cute. So now we're on to our second signature. I did a lot of stamping on this one. Some book pages. Again, lots of little ephemera tucked in here and there. I made this one, sorry, it's so cold in here, y'all. My hands are like ice. So this was that title card from the Nicoletta that I had picked out at the beginning, and I made this on it. These are just little pieces of ephemera. Got some stickers and fun little flip pages. I love these clear botanical stickers. I don't have very many of them, but they're some of my favorites. I think they're so pretty, the way that they all turn out. Some little trees there. I loved playing with all the red. Okay, so this is one of the pages that I painted, and then up at the top I put like a sleigh. I stamped on there because it made what was on the page already look like, I don't know, just like a really cool space to play with. So stuck some of that on there. I love this page too. Some little twinkles. So I did jam a bunch of ephemera in here. I just took a page that I thought was cute and I just glued around the edges. That way you just tuck it inside. Boo! This one was really fun. I had such a blast. All the stained pages. I even put a little image here. Tore up some different pages that I liked the look of. I did the stamping around the edges, or the ink around the edges of the coloring book pages, and I just kind of glued them all together to create this space, which I thought was pretty cool. Again, try to leave a little bit of open space here and there. collage going down. And there's our stamped back. And our last signature, this is like my favorite open spread in this entire book. This is like my favorite. I don't know why. I think it's just like there's like such a like soft blue tones. Everything lays on top of each other. It's so like Christmassy, but in a very like subtle way. I don't know. I really love. This is one of my favorite looks. My favorite spreads. So a little deer right here. I love this page too. It's like beautiful medieval art, and I just thought it was so pretty, especially set on that holly. Scraps. The vellum, which I thought looked really, really cute, with the penguins in the background. Another little deer with the typewriter and stuff, little stamps. Some more stamping. I have this really cool, it's actually a full like circle, but I only inked the bottom part and then I stamped it at the, you know, one area to make that on there. Really cool book page that I found, an illustration. Have a long pocket with a bunch of ephemera to kind of shove in here. It's actually really cute. Look at that. And then I think this is an Anne Frank quote, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Just some scraps and pieces. And then you just slide it in there so you get your top and your bottom all glued down, and then you can make this like little band. Our apples in the center, so pretty. And then I inked up this page with some stickers and a big quote. Ooh, some more ephemera stickers and little snowflakes. Some more of that stamp. Our penguins. Yeah, this last signature is my favorite for the spreads. Like, I love the look of this. Like, the gray with like the gray grid paper, the soft gray on the penguins, and then the vellum makes everything with this kind of gray tone. It did the same with like this, all the like black and white and gray. That's my favorite one. Oh, the back of this one's got Santa on it. I forgot about Santa. I saw him peeking through the vellum. But like, doesn't that just give the coolest effect? I love using vellum. Whenever I can find it and it's got a cool pattern, I will snatch it up. Hey, there's a bunch of little recipes in this one too. I love throwing these. I'll go and I'll find little recipe books, especially these small ones that I'll find at thrift stores. I always grab them because I just unstaple them and throw them in there, and then like, hey, you have a recipe too. Some more little stickers. Oh, my hands are like ice. I cannot even. Jewel tree sticker, some extra space to write, open space at the bottom, and then again with just this beautiful tone. And then I have a bunch of ephemera stuck in here that I just thought was beautiful. Have our little dresses down here. Why not? And then a little sticker. And there she is. She's done. And so I wrap her up, and I got her on my shop. I'll give you a quick overview of my other two that way you can see some of the other things that I've done. So this is my little lacy girl. She's super cute. So I got her double tied here with this yarn because I just thought it was so pretty. I didn't link this one in, and you can see this one's done a little bit differently. I have smaller spaces here, and then these on the inside are longer. So I wanted her to kind of stick out, like to be able to excuse me, really bulk her out and add a bunch of stuff. I'm trying to be so careful. I have cleaned my hands, but I am still full of ink because I was doing some extra stuff. So anyway, try not to get anything on anything, but every time I see it, I kind of freak out a little bit. So yeah, so I wanted to add this lace to where I can keep this longer so that anything that gets put in, you can make it kind of bulk out. As you can see, I even have some ribbon that's kind of sticking out. I thought she would be a really good one for that. Anyway, so with this one, I have a lot of like stamped pages and stuff on this one. Got some ephemera here. Spaces to write. Added all this. Some like thickening, thick pieces to the edges, so it makes it feel almost like you have those you know, those photo holders. That's what it kind of feels like, because it made the edges so like bulky. It's cool. Anyway, I like the textures. I like textures. I have all these things. Like I made a couple of little, like this just says nope, and it's just, you can do whatever you want with it. So sometimes I'll make little things like that. I'll do some textures and just kind of throw them in there. So you can rip those, tear those, do what you want with them, you know what I mean? Some coffee dyed pages. I did a lot of stamping on these and then added a couple of stickers. Love this page. Oh my god. And then just kind of tack this on at the bottom of the page so you can write all the way through. It's not a little pocket or anything, just some pretty designs. See, I have stamping along the edges, some more stickers, and ephemera. Got all kinds of stuff tucked away in here. A lot of quotes in this one too. Good things are gonna happen, and then the little typewriter says, I can't wait. Stickers here and here. This one has a thinner cover for the second signature. This one has 3 as well. Got some big stickers. Little ephemera here. Some stamping up this one. So this one I punched some holes. I just like randomly punched holes, and then I put some yarn through. I did like a weave and then hung ephemera. This has some that sometimes I'll just like mess around with textures and stuff. So I have this all textured and then I painted over it. And so I made just like, I don't know, a cool textured page. So I stuck that in there with some crinkled dye paper, coffee or tea. And then a tarot card. It's the world card. And then some stickers on the vellum here. I had these really cool sheets. Got a big sticker on that one. Some more stamping along the edges. This has a lot of like I said, just like really cool textured pages. This one, what was this one from? A book? Oh, People at Work. Yeah, one of those old books from probably maybe 70s or 80s that I find. I don't know. They're like little kids' textbooks. We talked about them, I think. They always have really cool pages. So this was just, I just thought it was awesome, but it wasn't quite big enough to put in, and I didn't want to half it, so I glued it to another page and extended it. So I'll show you when we get to the other side what I mean. But yeah, on this side of it, I put a pocket full of ephemera. Use your wings. This brick with this like off-white construction paper. Again, a lot of texture in this one. Ephemera. Got a page on a page here. Added this here to the top. Expect nothing, appreciate everything. Look, this is where that page is attached. So I attach this like this. And so I extended the page so that I can put it in the way that I want to. So don't be afraid to glue stuff together. I do it all the time. To extend your pages, that way it fits and looks exactly like you want it. Love this image. Oh my god, it's a sticker. It's a really big sticker. Live gently upon this earth. Love her. Little stamps. And then our last one. We have coloring pages in this one. I think stamped on the front and back. Pages glued together. Big stickers, and then I added some like notebook paper to add more space to write. Again, our delicate little doilies. Bunch of different stickers and spaces. I love doing these. I literally just use my texture stencils and I just go over it. Super cute. Got some really awesome advertising pages. Some more stencils. This one has a bunch of ephemera in this little pocket. I like rounded all the edges. Do more than exist. Added some more paper here. Set up this page here. These were so fun. All the stamping and then some notebook paper in there. That way it's got some clear writing spaces. But I write over everything, so. Yeah, our little coloring page, and then there she is. So that's my little lace one. And then we have, this one here. This is Alara. She is all stars, and it is gold foil, well, not gold, silver foil-ish stars, but she's also a kind of a sturdy cover. This is the first time I did this kind of construction for something so big. And I thought it came out just so fantastic. It was so much fun. Have my little Made with Love on there. But this one has 4 signatures. She's huge. And she's constructed with some like chipboard, like a thin, not thick, because it's bendable. She's got to be bendable because we want her to be big. So it's some really thin chipboard. And then I put my paper around it. And then I have some silver foil HTV that it's kind of pieced and stamped and heated all in here. Now, she's fancy, y'all. I love this one so freaking much. I love it. It's so cool. I did some cool things. So she's actually got a ribbon that's inside. So it is heat pressed and glued inside. So you can put her ribbon anywhere you need. So like I said, she's got 4 signatures and she's so shiny. Look at this. We have these. Look at that. She's so pretty. Okay. So let's take a quick look inside because she's big. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I wanted to show you some of the elements that I put in here because it was so fun. So these are a bunch of scraps that I glued together and then created this on the back so it's a space to write. Some stamping. Really cute pages. Created these. And this one's a little thinner, like the pages are a little thinner. A little bigger than travel notebook size, I believe. Got some butterflies, some stamps, kinds of little things in here. But she's got some cool pages. Let's see what I have. Some flowers. I loved the colors. I kept it in this whole like bluish tone, a lot of black and whites, a lot of corresponding. Got the High Priestess in there, coloring page. I have a little collection of these little scissors that came in this like tub of a whole bunch of them, and I like to sometimes cut the page edges. I was like the page endings, the page edges, just for again texture and fun. And then you can open, you can see it on both sides. Isn't that cool? Again, those purple things, I have cards shoved in here. Again, some stamping and stuff. I love this one. I don't know if y'all can see it in the video, but there's a faint staining on here. These are cabbage dyed pages. So some of them are really, really light because they do this like blue tint. And so it's subtle, but it's in there. It's just hard to see on camera. These cute little, I love this like stamp page. Okay, look at that. I love this look. The way that they open and like layer on each other. That's my favorite part about about creating junk journals, is like how you can set up the pages where when you just open it, like it's beautiful just like this. If you like just write on this side and just like let this be a beautiful open page, you could totally do that if you wanted to. I'm neurotic. I put something on everything. But the thought is there. Love these glittery. It's not like glitter to the touch. These are more like holographic little stars. But they have like the glitter sparkles in it, you see? Is that not so gorgeous? And on this side, got some little ephemera. So this one is just a little extra piece of paper that I had. And so it made this like really delicate little pocket that I thought was so pretty because I could stick some really small ephemera in there and have it like be seen. Again, that's why I keep all my scraps. Now, after my project, sometimes I'll throw some of the scraps away. Other times I'll keep them because I use them. They're easy. Oh, this is another nice trick I have. So this was a really, really big page. So I had this, where is it at? On this side. Oh, I'm too far. Where are you? There she is. So this part on this side, and then here I kept the rest so you can open it on either side and have extra space, and then just tuck it back in. Some more ephemera over here. I actually made this one. So again, extra piece of paper. I found this really cool image, and then I found this little frame that I had in my little ephemera box, and then I glued it on there and then glued it all together, and then put that with just some other cool pieces. Got that purple along the edge. Oh, a little pocket. So I have just something kind of glued there. And then I made this little heart into a pocket. And I have some little strips of papers and sticker in there. And then the last one, I got these blues and pinks in there again. This you can pull down. It's pretty long. It's folded a few times. And then it sits here. This is another page that I glued together. Something extra on the back. I have this tucked in there. This is a whole pocket here. So I created this on the back, and the page is folded up and glued along the edges. So this whole middle piece is a pocket folder, basically. Got some ephemera in this side, decorated the front part of each of these, and this one you can add all your stuff to there. Put one of these little, what are they called? Are they brads? I always forget. Got like I did a bunch of stamping on the back of this one. And then this is a little pocket in here. It's all perspective. This cute little page in here. And there she is. So it's been a wild ride. I hope you guys found this somewhat informative as best as I could. Like I said, I'm not an expert at explaining what I do. I really kind of wing it for the most part, but I tried to show you guys as much technical stuff as I could. If you have any other questions, if you want to see, you know, a different aspect of these, let me know. But yeah, I hope that, I know that this was a long process. They do take me a really long time to make. And I don't know, I hope I was able to capture it well enough for you guys that have been asking how I make these. So there you go. Like I said, these three are all going to be on my shop. I don't know for how long. So that'll be linked all down below. And yeah, thank you for joining me on this
on this fun little ride. I hope you guys liked it. I will talk to you all very soon. I'm sending you all my love. Mwah! Later, Gators.